And welcome to this video. This is the fourth video in the series 5 Things I Wish I'd Learned Sooner. In this video, we're going to talk about why it's important to train with connection and communication and not dominance and control. I wish I'd learned much sooner that communicating with horses and trying to educate them with connection and communication, with an understanding and a conversation, is much better than trying to dominate and control them. With regards to dominating and controlling, that's a method that I learned initially in my equestrian education. So it was like, you need to be in charge, you need to communicate with the horse in a way that the horse is submissive and so then has to do what you want. The problem with that is ultimately the horse then has to compromise. It has to compromise in its body, it has to compromise in its emotions, and it has to compromise in its connection element as well. So if they don't feel connected, they're not interested in doing the work. So it's important to think about your relationship and whether your horse is just compliant, or whether you are actually able to understand the communication that your horse is having with you. When we train with dominance, I've done that, so I have experience with that, and what you see then is ultimately there comes a time where the horse just isn't going to take it anymore, and so, or they will comply with regards to, they're going to train to the detriment of their body. So they comply by contorting, by creating tension and anxiety, and not finding relaxation and a conversation with you. So if we think about how horses are in nature, what happens in nature is their herd connect and communicate subtly through body language, energy, and breath. And that's solely how the horse is wired. So by dominating and controlling them, we shut down their ability to communicate and connect, and their ability to have a conversation with us. So then we're training to the detriment of their bodies and their minds and their well-being, rather than helping them and training with relationship in mind. So it's very important that we think about what we want to achieve. We know in our own minds that actually when someone is forcing us to do something, it's not a very pleasant outcome, it's not a very pleasant feeling. And so the horses are the same. They want simplicity in their life, they want to do what we want, and they want to communicate with us, but we have to find a way to understand them and to train them in a way that is a positive influence for them, rather than working all the time with dominance and control. So things like, oh, I have to put it in a bit to lead it to the field, or I have to load it in a pressure halter, or I have to ride it in a bit. All of these things are not necessary. They're done because it's always been done like that. That doesn't mean it has to be done like that. And so I wish I'd really learned how to read horses, how to communicate with them, with my body language and with my energy, rather than to force them into compliance. Because I think, especially from a from a body perspective. So I do a lot of rehabilitation, and when you have pain, then it's not possible to force the horse to actually come into a posture or a position that you want, because it's painful. So when we do it via connection and communication, the horse is then much more able to find what we're looking for, rather than compressing and contorting the body. So it's a lesson that we as humans have forgotten. We are able to communicate via body language. We are able to connect and feel through breath and energy, but it's just a lost way of being. And so we have to feel like we can return back to that for the health of our horses, and for the sake of our horses, because that's what they want. So with regards to how I train now and the starting process to maybe switch from dominance to and control to connection and communication, the start process of that is starting a conversation. So being able to ask a simple question. So maybe what that looks like is you are able to find a connection, and you're able just to walk a little bit around the arena without forcing the horse to come, without just using energy. And then, so that's your start point. So just using energy to get forward momentum. And then the same with the halt. Breath, breathing out, that's your start point. So your beginning communication aspect is, can I just walk a little bit? And can I find a little bit of communication? And then the same when we stop. So can we find that connection? Just on a basic level to start with, because that's what the horses want. Obviously, if they're not used to that, then it's a little bit more tricky to start with, but all horses can do it. It's just switching that level of communication and training mindset over to one of communication and connection, rather than dominance and control. So really important, good girl, to think about, okay, I can get a little bit of connection, I can move a little bit, and my horse can come in that direction without me having to pull, without me having to force them to do what I want. So it's a lesson, it's a big lesson. It applies in the ridden as well. So when we ride with empathy and softness and a connection with the horse's body and mind, we can really create a much better partnership. So I hope that helps. Try it with your own horses. Try the first piece of communication, just the walking and the stopping, and see how you get on. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in number 5. Thanks again for watching. Details about my training in the website in the description below. Thanks again.